Thank you for joining us for the replay of the January 9th webinar, Build a Vision, presented by PID Jerome Thompson. PID Jerome paints a clear picture of the Build a Vision process and gives us many helpful tips on how to conduct our very own Build a Vision district-wide meeting. Build a Vision is technically the second module in the GMA process. However, it can be done complementary to the Build a Team process. The Build a Vision process helps your district visualize the direction or the opportunities along with the associated challenges foreseen. It's truly the core of the GMA process. Please welcome PID Jerome Thompson.
Thank you so very much for allowing me to be here. If you'll give me just a few minutes. Now, I get excited about this because Vice President Bryan, Vice President Haynes, and I were the first three on the steering committee, and then we expanded it to a group of about 9 who put this program together. And as I've told Dave, there's parts of it that I would have done different, but you know, when you work on a committee, you have to decide which hills you're going to die on and which ones you're not going to die on. And so the finished product is very effective. And we know that because in Constitutional Area 1 and 2, the United States and Canada, basically, as we had our pilot districts outperformed all of the other districts that was not using the process. And then this year, we're testing it in Constitutional 3 through 8, the rest of the world. And all of those areas where the pilots are outperforming the rest of the districts in their constitutional areas by anywhere from 30 to 40%. That's members into existing clubs, that's new clubs being formed, that's retention, and it's also in leadership development. And so we know it works. It works in the United States, it works in Canada, and now we know it's working around the world. Vice President Bryan, if you're a first vice district governor-elect and going to be one of his governors, you're going to hear him say that he really wants each and every one of you to start this approach and start it now with the build a team, build a vision, build a plan, and build success. In the next few minutes, what I'd like to do is talk with you about that district vision, talk a little bit about district goals and what our next steps are as we find greater success year by year by year. Lion Dave, I'm going to ask you to just sort of monitor that chat box. And if there's something that I need to know, just interrupt me if that's okay, because I'm so uncoordinated. I just barely can hit enter and present at the same time.
Sounds good.
There's some pre-meeting preparation that needs to take place. And you know, you've already been encouraged to build that team. And all of us that are going to be district governor-elects have that 5 or 6 or 8 folks in our district that we can count on, the people we can call at 2 o'clock at night if we have car trouble, the people that we can send a text to at 4 o'clock in the morning because they know that we keep strange hours and they will share in our excitement. I've got one lion here in my district that, generally speaking, if I come up with a crazy idea by 4 or 4:30 in the morning and text him, he's retired and he's at home. And by the time I get home, he's got the PowerPoint and the program fleshed out. And then we can spend another hour on the phone debating a few points, and we'll have it complete. Everybody needs that. And that's what, when you say build that team, what you should have done to this point is identified those 5 or 6 to 8 people that are really your supporters. They're going to be on board with you. And now it's time to begin to build that vision. And so who do we invite to this Build a Vision meeting? I'm going to encourage you to invite everyone in your district that has an email address. And why would I ask you to invite 1,000 folks? Because I know that out of 1,000, 35 or 40 will show up. But out of that 35 or 40, there's going to be people that aren't even on your radar for a leadership position that will chime in. They'll help to build the vision. They'll be so excited, they'll help to build the plan, and then they're going to help you to reach greater success. In one meeting that I facilitated, we invited everyone. There was a club that had not ever been to a district meeting, never been to a cabinet meeting, never been to convention. The only thing that they have done is served well within their community. There's 16 of them. There's been 16 of them for the last 20 years. there's probably always going to be 16 because that's just the number that they like. But they do tremendous work in their community. But their president showed up, and I was just really shocked. But as we began that day and got everybody to talking, he raised his hands. He says, I've never been to a district meeting before, but I got an email that says, Lion Bob, you're so valuable to your club and have given a great service to your community. We would like for you to help us to build a vision for our district, which will take us to greater success. Will you give us a few hours on Saturday morning, February the 2nd, and the location and things of that nature? But because we sent an email that had called him by name, thanked him for this service, and told him that he was important to our vision for a better tomorrow, he showed up. And as he began to talk and get involved in building the vision, he had some of the very best ideas. And he had never left his city before. There was another one I facilitated, and there was a lady that came in and she sat down toward the back and she was rather quiet, and everybody introduced themselves. And she says, I joined the Lions Club 6 weeks ago, and I got this email. And the only reason I joined the Lions Club is I was the Leo advisor for the club at my high school. But the email said I was important and I needed to share in building this vision. And so the only thing I know is about the Leo Club, but I plan to share some ideas about how to make the Leo Club better in my high school. And so when you invite people, you get people who otherwise would not be there. And when those invitations can be sent out with a mail system that lets you personalize them, it's even better. So I'd encourage you to invite everyone. And this is our visionaries that are coming together to help us build a vision. How are you going to prepare the room? Some of you are going to have your meeting on Zoom, and that's great. You're going to take and have everybody go to the same room every time you break out for discussions, and then come back together to report. You're going to have somebody that is the designated secretary that's going to write every idea down, because every idea is important. We never know which idea folks are really going to get excited about. So every idea is important. If you're doing your meeting in person, set that room up so that there's 4 to 6 people at a table, because we're going to have some table discussions. In the front of the room, there should be some butcher papers, I call it, where that you can write down every idea, because when we tell people that their idea is important, and then we write it down to show them it's important, and then we tape that butcher paper up to the wall, and we continue to fill the walls of the room, people begin to understand that what we're doing is important, and we're shaping our district for the future. And so we've got tables of 5 to 6. We've got maybe some notepads or sticky pads there on the tables. We're going to talk about some information that we're going to put on the tables. We've got some tape. We've got the butcher paper. We're ready to begin the meeting. We're going to need some information. And if you'll go online and get your 5-year averages of the number of clubs you started, number of people you dropped, the number of people you added to clubs, and have that on the table, because as people talk, they'll already have that information there and available to them. Because as we begin to build goals, if we've only formed 2 clubs a year for the last 5 years, there's no need to set a goal that we're going to form 12. If we've only formed a half a club, 1 club every other year, there's no need to come in here and say we're going to form 8. So we're going to have some realistic, some smart goals. It's important to have a facilitator, somebody that listens well, is conversational, puts people at ease, and can draw out other ideas by saying, yes, that's a great idea. And how could we embellish upon that? Does someone else have an idea of how that we can add value to that idea, and get everyone talking and engaging? Because this is going to be a safe space for ideas. And early on, the facilitator needs to tell everyone there is no silly ideas. And if you think that you're going to get away with telling folks that we've already tried that, you're mistaken. We're going to ask you once not to do that. The second time, we're going to ask you very firmly not to do that. And the third time, we're going to ask you to go home, because this is a safe place. We're planting seeds. We're harvesting ideas. Everything is eligible to be discussed. And it doesn't matter what someone says, it's valuable because we never know when that will become part of our plan, and that very idea may become part of our future success. And so ahead of time, you set the room, you've got your good facilitator, you've communicated the safe space for ideas, and you've gathered that information that they need in order to make good decisions and develop the ideas for a better tomorrow. So we built a team, we've got those 7 or 8, but we've built a team of visionaries now. We've come together for this Build a Vision meeting, and it's a global membership approach. And we have 3 objectives: start new clubs, add members to existing clubs, have exciting service and fellowship to retain the members we have. And the 4th team is to support the leadership and the development of leaders in those other 3 areas. And so as we begin, and we've got all of these people together, and everybody's a little apprehensive because they don't really know what's going to happen. It's important we put them at ease and we get them to talking. And so the first series of questions, and this PowerPoint is available at lionsclubs.org/global under Build a Vision. And so you don't even have to build your own PowerPoint. Lions Clubs International has it there for you. We've flipped the script. Clubs and districts is the most important thing we have. And our international presence now at the bottom of the organizational chart, supporting everyone. And so you as a district, we for years have said, your club your way, it's also going to be your district your way, because you're going to develop this vision for a better district. And you're going to get people talking about expectations. And as they talk, your district governor-elects, if you will listen, you will go down in history as being the very best district governor ever. Why? Because you're going to hear the expectation of your visionaries, and then you're going to meet those expectations, and you're going to exceed those expectations. And so what do Lions and club officers expect from their district governor teams? Give about 3 to 5 minutes for them to discuss it at the table and make their list, and then let every table report out, somebody write down every idea. We expect our district governor to communicate better. Well, that's great. Tell me what form that communication should take place in. How often should they communicate? Who should they be communicating with? Your facilitators asking those questions and drawing out those ideas, because as you're drawing out those ideas, people are becoming comfortable. They're realizing that this is important and you're listening to them. We think the district governor should quit making speeches at our meetings and help at service projects. You write that idea down, and you as a district governor, along with your vice district governors, are going to begin to go to service projects as well as make some presentations at club meetings, because that's what they said was important. Whatever they say is important, we're writing it down. We're going to begin to do it. We're building it in to our plan of action for being the best district governor ever. And as you finish that, what do Lions and club officers expect from their zone chairs? And generally speaking, someone in the room will say, what is a zone chair? And this question was put in there to give us a teachable moment so that we can teach the value of zone chairs to all of our visionaries. And then, as we explain to them that a zone chair is a mini district governor for 4 to 6 clubs, as the district governor is to 35 or 40 clubs, they begin to understand that a zone chair should be doing the same thing a district governor should be doing. They should be visiting the club. They should be helping with service projects. They should be communicating on a regular basis. They should be communicating to all the Lions in the zone. They should be communicating other information to the officers. And whatever that your visionaries say a zone chair should do, you write it down, because that is going to become the job description for your zone chairs. When you call Lion Jane and says, I'd like you to be a zone chair, and this is what the visionaries said that they would like for you to do. Once again, you've taken it off of you and you've placed it on the visionaries. The visionaries say that they think that once a month you should be communicating with the club officers. Once a quarter, you should be communicating with all the members in your zone. Once a quarter, you should help with a service project or attend a meeting at one of your clubs. Whatever that your visionaries have said, you share that with them so they once again know how to meet and exceed the expectation of the visionaries so they can be the best zone chairs available. And then what do we expect of Lions clubs? and people will begin to at their tables discuss it. We're going to come together with ideas. And why is this question so important? It's so important because when you go out to visit with a club, and that club has not reported their service in the last 6 months, they've not added their new members in the last 90 days, but you know they have new members because they introduced you to them when they got there. Then as you're talking, you can say, as district governor, I think that you need to do X, Y, Z, and you can just really dress them down. And they're going to turn you off, and they're not going to listen to anything else you say. But you say, we had this Build a Vision meeting, and we asked this question, what do you expect of Lions Clubs? And those 35 visionaries that come together, they said that the qualities of a good Lions Club is 1 through 5, and you just list them. And it's up to you, because it's your club, your way, to evaluate how you stack up against the expectation of these visionaries. And if there's some way that I can help you to be a better club, I'm here to do that. What can I do to help you to be a better club? And they're going to start telling you, and all of a sudden it's changed from a negative to how can I help you to be better than you've ever been before? And how can I help you to reach the expectations, not of me, not of Lions Clubs International, but of your peers, the visionaries that come together to build the vision for a better tomorrow. When you finish this, you're probably 15, 20 minutes into the meeting, and you've got everybody talking, you've got their creative juices flowing. Everyone is excited about what's going on. And you're going to then shift to future. 5 years from now, if a former member called to inquire about your club, what would you like to tell them about the changes for the better that have been made? You're going to let them talk about that at their tables, and then you're going to let them report that out. And this is where you're going to get the ideas for your vision for a better tomorrow. This is where we had one person who says, why can't we have a virtual Leo club? Because the schools aren't letting us have our meetings like we'd like to have them. And then the kids they scatter, and all of them don't have driver's license, and we live in a rural area. Why can't we have a virtual Leo club? And everybody looked at one another and says, I don't know. Is there anything that prevents us from having a virtual Leo club? And the governor says, nope, nothing prevents it at all. And now we have Lions clubs who are holding their Leo club meetings virtually and have opened it up to people, to the athletes who weren't able to meet after school, or opened it up to the group of students that was riding the bus and couldn't meet before school. And we have so much greater participation just out of that one idea. And someone says, I really would like us to be able to say that we have tested the vision of 10,000 students in our school system. And somebody else talks about diabetes and what that they would like to see us do in diabetes. And all these ideas for a better future is coming. So far, all we've done is let people get comfortable talking, because the heavy lifting is coming. But right now, we're all about just getting them comfortable and talking. And when you finish this exercise, you're probably about an hour into your meeting, maybe 45 minutes. And you've got everybody there. They're laughing, they're talking, they're sharing, they're seeing their ideas are important, and they're seeing them written down and preserved, because we're going to use those ideas later. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Henry Ford said that. I really thought Brian Sheehan said it, but I was told that Henry Ford said it first and Brian just copied him. And so our vice president is real serious. And if you're a district governor-elect on this call today, you're going to hear him more than once to tell you, we're going to start doing things different because we don't like the results we've been getting. And as we're doing things different, we're seeing the results change. Our 10-year average for the last 10 years on December 31st is to have minus 5,000 or more. This year, we had minus 710. We're 86% better than our 10-year average. That's assuming I did the math right. I'm a political science and English major. And so if I did the math right, it's 86% better than our 10-year average. And that is because we are beginning to use this global membership approach, this North American membership approach, this team building approach, and we're doing things different. Each district's doing what they need to do to find greater success. As we finish that, and we let everyone talk, we're going to let people know that we're fixing to move into a discussion of our strengths and our weaknesses, our opportunities and our threats. We're going to leverage our strengths so that we can maximize our potential. We're going to manage our weaknesses and minimize those and find ways to work around those, just as we do it at work, as we do at home, as we do at church, and all other aspects of our life. We're going to do that in our Lions clubs and our Lion districts. There's some opportunities out there that we're going to take advantage of. And there's some minimizing the impact of some threats. And when we started this, we didn't even know COVID was a threat. But those districts that were already involved in building a vision for a better tomorrow overcome COVID with great success because they had the momentum built up to take on a threat. I don't know what all the threats are out there, but I do know that if we've identified our strengths, if we've minimized our weaknesses, if we're seizing opportunities, then in fact, the threats are going to be just a blip on the radar. They're just not going to affect us because we're in the business of serving. We're in the business of putting smiles on the faces of those in need. And if we continue that focus and we do it based on our strengths and seizing those opportunities, then everything will be fine. And speaking of seizing opportunities, if you go on to my personal Facebook page, there's an invite there for you to join us. I think it's on the 19th of January to talk about Lions Quest and how that we can use that program in our juvenile justice system, in our foster care systems, and our alternative school systems across the United States, and how we can form clubs around Lions Quest, and how Lions Clubs International Foundation has funds to help you to get that done. Reorganizing the truth about ourselves, recognizing the truth about ourselves is the starting point of all change. And that's what we're going to begin to do. We've got people talking. We've got them all excited. They're beginning to think, and we're going to begin to ask some tough questions, because when we know truly where we stand, then we can figure out the path of where we're going to go and how we're going to get there. So every table we're going to ask, what do we do well in our district? What are some of our strengths? What do you do well in your clubs? What are your strengths? The table's going to discuss it. It's going to be reported out. It's going to be discussed among the group. And then I'm going to take, once you get those 8 or 10, 15 things, and say, what do you think is our top 3 strengths that we really should focus on this year and make sure that we capitalize on those strengths? And let the group begin to tell you and reach a consensus that we serve better than anyone else serves. We have some of the very best zone chairs. We have 45 clubs that grew last year. Whatever it is, let them mark it, and you label those 1, 2, 3, because that's going into our plan as we build our plan to build on. We're going to do the same with our weaknesses. We're going to let our visionaries determine what our weaknesses are. And when everybody has reported out from the tables, we're going to say, if we could only improve in 3 of these areas, which 3 do you think is the most important for us to improve in? And that group of people that are there, they're so comfortable talking, they're going to say, communication. Communication is that thing that is the number one thing that we've got to improve on. Or somebody says, exciting meetings, our club meetings, our district meetings, our zone meetings, they're just dull. We've got to do something to juice them up. Whatever they say, it's the top 3, you mark it, because those are going into your plan, because we're going to take those top 3 weaknesses that they say are must improves, and they're going to become strengths when we do this next year. And then when we have new strengths, we're going to go back to them and ask them to identify 3 more weaknesses for us to work on. We're going to talk about opportunities, the Leos being an opportunity. Maybe there's a need in the community that's an opportunity. Maybe there's leadership development that's out there that we need to take advantage of. Whatever those opportunities are, and once again, we're going to ask them if we can only seize 2 of those opportunities or 3 of those opportunities, which are the most important that we build into our plan. And the group of visionaries is beginning to build those, our plan out for us. And in just a few minutes, they don't know, but they're actually going to write the plan too. And I'm going to show you how to get them to do that. We're going to do the same with threats. What is the known threats is out there that's going to hamper our success as a Lions Club and as a district? And how do we manage those threats? Which is the most pressing threat that we need to be most aware of? When you finish this, it's probably time to take a break. If you've planned it from 10 to 2, it's time to have a snack. If you planned it from 1 to 4, it's time to have some refreshments, because these people who have been working together now for about 2 hours, they are going to begin to do what I call the wayside learning. They're going to go and across the room and say, Lion Jane, Lion Joe, back about an hour ago, you mentioned this idea. Tell me more about it. How can my club get involved in that? And you're beginning to get them all excited and working together and talking. So you give them about 15 minutes, snack break, restroom break, visit, learn, build teams within themselves so that they are creating that synergy that's going to carry you through your year as district governor. It's going to help you to be the best district governor ever in your district, and it's going to help you to be more successful than any other district governor. I can't change the direction, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. And that's what we're doing with this group. We're adjusting our sails. Things that I think are important when I was a district governor doesn't matter. It's what the visionaries think that's important that matters. I am just simply the leader. You as a district governor are just simply the leader of the visionaries. You run ahead them, you help them to build a consensus, you keep them moving, you capitalize on their momentum, and you let them carry you to the shore of success. And then we're going to move to our goals. And as we get everybody back together in their seats, we're going to tell them that we're going to focus on our goals: new clubs, new members, membership satisfaction, and leadership support. We're going to talk about SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. We're going to also talk about accountability. And just, you might as well tell them that when you as a visionary agreed to come to this meeting, then you agreed to help us to build a vision, but you also agreed to help us to carry out this vision and find greater levels of success. Any Lion who wants to sit at the back of their club meeting in their clubhouse and just talk and spend their opinion is more than welcome to, and I don't expect anything of them. But once you step into an office with a club, once you step into zone, once you step into leadership on a district or multiple district level, you are held accountable. And if you don't believe it, you just ask my 15 area leaders, because the other day I had gotten out of the habit of posting on a regular basis the membership success. And I had one of my area leaders call me and say, Jerome, you've done this for 25 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, you haven't done it. Why? I said, well, I just got busy and I didn't. They said, that's not an acceptable answer. We have counted on you to keep us informed. And when you said you'd lead us and you started doing this, you've got to continue to do this. I expect that in the next 7 days, you're going to give us an update on where we are with membership and help us to see the future and where we're going. I said, yes, ma'am. And you know what I did? I put together another one of those memes. I put it on there, and I've tried to be more religious and go back to what I was doing. You as a district governor, you as a district leader are accountable to your Lions, and you're also accountable to Lions Clubs International. And when you agreed to accept that responsibility, you also agreed to allow others to hold you accountable, to help you to be the best leader that you can be. And if you want a book to read on leadership that I think is wonderful, you have to read John Maxwell's 5 Levels of Leadership. He's going to tell you that you can be a leader because you have a position, but when you add value to the lives of others, they give you permission to lead. And as they give you permission to lead and you continue to add value, people begin to produce the results we're looking for. And that's this build success phase. And then it's your job to build people and then to begin to lead teams of teams. As you move into Focus Area 1, you're going to have the discussion, probably 5 to 8 minutes. Why are new clubs valuable? Because most people there are very engaged in what they do as a club, but they have never thought about why that we should be going into new communities and starting new clubs. Where can we start a new club? And once you get this group of visionaries identifying those 4, 5, 10 places, then it makes your job as a district governor much easier because you now have towns identified and you have people who have said that they know people and can help us to start clubs there. Specialty clubs. And it's so important we have this discussion because so too often we think a specialty club means that we're going to have a club of Nepalese, we're going to have a club of Chinese, we're going to have a club. And specialty clubs is so much more than ethnic clubs. Specialty clubs are bringing people together who have a common interest and moving in a positive direction. That could be friends of the library that just simply need our liability insurance. That could be the athletic booster club at the school. That could be a group of parents who want to put together a handicapped playground that are all coming together. And if you don't have enough to form a club, then make them a branch of your club, because 5 or 6 people working together under the auspices of an existing club is just as valuable for what we do in service as a new club. So specialty clubs and specialty branches are so important. And then what training and resources are needed. And without exception, in the 3 meetings that I facilitated recently, we got to that question. Everybody says, I'd love to help you to form a new club, but I don't even know where to start. And so as we build the plan, and we got that focus area 3 of leadership, or 4 of leadership support, we built in there, we must hold new Club 101 training in July and August of next year, or June and July of August, and made that a time-bound SMART goal to hold training on how to form a new club. And then they've got the 5-year trends and averages in front of them, and they're going to begin to tell you how many clubs to put down as your goal. By the end of the fiscal year, our district will charter X number of clubs, and someone there is going to be wild. Well, we got 10 towns listed. I think we can do 10. And that's when your facilitator has to politely ask someone else, what our 5-year average is 1 club a year. Do we think that's realistic? Is 10 realistic? Because if it is, we're going to all agree to it. And then we're going to get busy forming 10 clubs. And somebody can say, no, that's not realistic. I think we can do 1. And somebody else says, well, I think that we can do 2. And they're going to have this discussion. And the group then is going to compromise at some number, 1, 2, 3, whatever they say is right. And that is your district goal. And you as a district governor then are going to move forward with that goal. And when you achieve that goal by December 31st, you're going to have a stretch goal of another club. You're going to do the same for Focus Area 2. Why invite people to join your club? Because you've got people in that room that have never invited anyone else to join the club. And they are beginning to think. And this discussions that we're having is going to spill over to our zone meetings and spill over to our club meetings. And this is where we're going to build that synergy to find success. What's the best way for a club to add new members? And someone's going to say, just ask. And someone's going to say, I like to invite them to a service project. And someone else is going to say, I like that membership growth event concept. I like the Ohio plan. I like whatever plan. And whatever they say is fine, because we're writing it down again and we're going to build it into our plan of action for finding greater success. How often does your club hold a membership growth event? How's it held? Was it successful? What do you think we could do to improve it? And what training or assistance is needed? And whatever they say, remember that group 4 over there, that leadership development, they're building that into their plan. And then we're going to talk about how many members we're going to add to existing clubs. Whatever your 5-year average is for bringing them in, if you could stretch and add 5 to 10% more, that would be a very realistic goal and something everybody could rally around and move forward with. You're going to do the same for Focus Area 3. How do you know a lion is engaged? Why is it new member orientation important? How does service projects help retain members? How can we re-engage members who have stopped participating? You're getting all these ideas because we're fixing to build those into our plan. And then we're going to talk about the number of members that we've lost in the last 5 years. And once again, if we can reduce that by 5 to 10%, if that number was 300 and we can cut it by 15 to 30 this year, that is a remarkable goal. helping us to get to where we need to be. And your group of visionaries, whatever they determine, is going to be the right answer. But your facilitator is going to guide them to trying to improve upon that, cutting that loss, but setting a realistic goal. Because if we attain our goals during Vice President Brian's year, we're going to have a greater momentum and attain more goals and bigger goals during Vice President Patty's year, and then Vice President Fabrizio's year, and then Vice President AP's year. All of those are going to come together, and we are going to be a much better and stronger organization in Constitution Area 1 in 4 to 5 years than we are today. Why? Because we are going to use this process year after year after year and become better and better and better, and refine our vision and move our weaknesses to strengths, move our threats to opportunities, and begin to move forward. And then finally, we're going to be to focus area 4, supporting districts and club leaders. What programs, seminars, and training should be offered to club officers? They're going to tell you, the visionaries are going to tell you, but you've also picked up on those as the first 3 discussions that have been going on. What is the best format to deliver training? And used to we would have a discussion whether a Zoom training is effective or not, or whether they all have to be in person. We now know that there's a variety of ways to deliver training, and they're all effective. If the district hosted a Lions Leadership Institute, who should attend? How should it be put on? And one district put together their very own District Enhanced Learning Institute, invited everyone to come for 3 meetings over a 3-month period on 3 different Saturdays. So no one had to take off and fly to Houston or fly to Chicago or fly to LA to be involved in a Lions Leadership Institute put on by Lions Clubs International. They did it locally. And out of the 20 that were there, the following year, 8 of them became zone chairs. Out of the 20 that were there, 4 of them have lined up to become the district governor. It can be effective if we'll just begin to think outside the box, and it's your district, your way. And what other types of support can we provide to our leaders? Whatever they say is fine. By this time, you've got 20 pages of notes all around the room taped up. You've got everybody so excited about the fact that they've been sharing an idea and sharing their ideas, and that they're part of the success. And they're really now ready to help you build that plan and to build that success. In order to carry a positive action, we must develop here a positive vision. And that's what we've done in about 3 hours of people's times, is we have developed a vision for a better tomorrow. And everyone's vision in that room is slightly different. And that's okay, because they all have different passions. They all have different purposes. We're beginning to collaborate. We've invited all the visionaries. And as we begin to talk about the ideas that were generated and the plan that we're putting together, everyone in your district needs to be involved and know what's going on. Your directors, your past presidents, past directors, your past district governors. We've invested a lot of money as Lions Clubs International and all of our past district governors. And it's time that we bring them out of retirement and we find them a second encore career with Lions Clubs International and with your district, by giving them an opportunity to serve in new ways and in new exciting ways. But it's also important that we find their passion and we find our purpose and we put those together, because there's no need to ask me to fix a car, because your car will be on the side of the road for the rest of my life. It's not a passion of mine. It's not a skill of mine. But you ask me to do something I'm excited about doing, and I have a skill set to do it, it's going to get done. And the same with our past district governors. This is where we're to the end of the meeting. Everyone's so excited, and you need to pass out 3x5 cards. You need to ask everyone in the room to write down their name, their address, their phone number, their email address. And then this is where that you're really going to get the value, the bang for the buck. You're going to ask them, what are you passionate about? Are you passionate about helping us to start new clubs? Are you passionate about helping us to bring members into existing clubs? Are you passionate about new service and fellowship and retaining the members we have? Are you passionate about supporting our leadership with new and exciting training? Whatever they say is fine. If you've got 40 visionaries there, you're going to get probably 28 to 30 cards. There's going to be about 10 people there that are going to say, I'm just tapped out. I can't do anymore. And that's fine. If we get 30 people all agreeing to be on different teams and we've sorted them out, we're going to then say, here's the team that is going to help us to form new clubs in this next year. And you're going to read out the 7, 8 names, and you're going to say, I need the 8 of you to select a chairman and to begin to write our plan of action for new clubs. New members, here's the 7, 8, 9 of you that are passionate about bringing new members in existing clubs. I need you to pick a chairman and begin to write a plan. And you know what? That chairman is going to look a whole lot like your next global membership team leader. You're going to do the same for Focus Area 3 with new service and fellowship. And this 7 or 8 people are going to ask them to pick their chairman. And that's probably going to be your global service team leader and the plan of action to get us to where we need to be. And your leadership support, those 6 or 8 people that's excited about that, they're going to select their chairman. They're going to begin to write their plan. And that looks a lot like your global leadership team leader. And so all of a sudden, instead of having 3 people who are trying to do everything themselves, you have a team that's doing membership, a team that's doing leadership, a team that's doing service, a team that's forming new clubs. And you've got a district governor-elect who has now become the chief executive officer of the district. And their job is just to lead teams of teams and promote people and to share a vision and be the best cheerleader that's ever out there. Working together, this vision, build a vision, can really shape your district in new and exciting ways. Your next step after that is to communicate the results of your meeting to everyone in your district. To give it to your council chair and your global action team on the multiple district level and say, this is what we come up with. They don't have a veto power, but it's important because we're going to need to tap into their resources. You as a district governor-elect are going on our Learn Center, Lions Learning Center, and take the courses on action planning to achieve district goals and succession planning. Your 4 teams are going to have about 30 to 45 days to write their action plans. They're going to give it to you. You and your global action team on the district level, your vice district governors, your immediate past district governor, who is now currently still the governor, and anyone else that you feel trusted is going to refine those plans and bring them together into one master plan for your district. And then you're going to begin to mobilize, because if your current district governor is on board, then your current district governor is going to understand the quicker you start mobilizing and moving toward your plan. We finished this year, President Doug's year, stronger than we've ever finished a year before. And we have momentum that's going to carry us into Vice President Brian's year at a greater speed than we've ever achieved before. That's your next steps. And next month, or in the next couple of months, we're going to talk about building that plan. And then we're going to talk about building success. I appreciate you letting me be part of your meeting today. I hope I haven't put everyone to sleep, but I'm so excited because I know for a fact that this global membership approach is important. And when we invite everyone to be on our team of visionaries, and when we get everyone talking and building that vision for a better tomorrow, that we will have an exciting plan that's based on SMART goals. And then through constant communication, we're going to build success like we've never seen it before. And you are going down in history as the very best district governor ever, because you've met and exceeded the expectations of your visionaries who have gathered to help you to build a vision for a better tomorrow. Area Leader Dave, thank you so very much for allowing me to share a few thoughts. And if there's any questions, I'm here to listen to questions, comments, concerns. Together, we're going to find greater success. And I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you very much, PID Jerome. I believe District Governor Deb had a question, and I think it's a great discussion point because I've heard this question before, and we have a very, very nice selection of people here today. So would you like to unmute, Deb, and just kind of fire that one out there?
Sure, Dave. I'm unmuted, I think. My question is, like a real life thing that's happening in our district right now. We're trying to certainly scope out where's the best places to put new clubs. And one of the barriers, I guess, when you go into a new town and you try to assess what's there, and they have a very successful Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, they just, Ruritans, they have lots of service clubs in that area. Are you better to move on to someplace different where there's not as much, quote, competition? Or how do you feel you break through an area like that?
Deb, that is a very good question. The question, as we're going into a new town to form a new club, is not who is out there and what competition we have. The question is, what need is in the community that is unmet? Because if there's an unmet need in that community, it really doesn't matter if there's 700 organizations out there. There is a group of 20, 25, 30 people who want to come together to address that need. And so the most important thing that we can do is do a community needs assessment. And then once we have that assessment and we know what that need is, then our job is to find those individuals that are interested in helping to meet that need. And one thing that is also important to know and remember is that just because you're Rotarian or you're a Kiwanis or you're a Civitan, that does not mean that you are not eligible to join our association, because we want your talent, we want your leadership, we want everyone to come together to meet this need in the community and then develop additional needs. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. The perspective you gave is a lot healthier. So I'll work on that.
Deb, let me give you an example of a community need that's probably unmet in every community in Ohio, because it is in Alabama. Across the United States, we have 4,000 alternative schools. These alternative schools are students who do not learn well in the traditional classroom, most of the time because they've not made some very good decisions. And by going and talking with the superintendent about how to bring Lions Quest, social emotional learning, not into the school system, but just into the alternative school, so that we can work with those students to improve their self-image, improve their people skills, improve their decision-making skills, and improve their ability to add value to our community through community servant learning, then that's a need that's unmet. And you've got DHR people, you've got court people, you've got police officers, you've got sheriff's department, you've got educators, the alternative school people that may all want to come together to form a club around Lions Quest in the alternative schools. And so as you're talking about going into new communities, I would encourage you on the 19th to join our discussion about this unique need that's in almost every community across the United States.
Just to throw a different perspective at this, how many people present know of a community that has absolutely no needs? And I think that's a pretty obvious one. When we subject ourselves to different communities and the needs of those communities, I think we have to look maybe sometimes, but we find many things that need to be done. And I think just to leverage off that a little bit, PID Gary Anderson put a comment up just a few seconds ago that said, Lions serve hands-on more than any other service club. Focus on real needs of your community, and the Lions will stand out as the organization to be part of. And I think that's one of the true things, is that what we really do is service. And that's what we have to concentrate on, service and inviting service. So we can solve the needs of a community by working with that community and inviting people.
I also noticed that Lion Patty asked, would she get a copy of this PowerPoint? This PowerPoint is available at lionsclubs.org/global. You go down to Build a Vision, and you can download it from there. And then this PowerPoint can be used for your Build a Vision meeting as you facilitate that meeting. It's got all the questions. It's got everything that you need. I've added very few slides to the explanation, and I did that on purpose because I want you to know that Lions Clubs International is building resources. And if there's a resource out there that you need that you can't find, then the Global Action Team, Lion Dave and I, along with our staff at Oak Brook, our job is to build the resources to help you to find greater success.
Lion Jerome,
Yes, ma'am.
this is District Governor Deb again.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, because most of the other folks that are on are upcoming district governors. And I want to tell you guys, do not forget Jerome's name and Dave's name, because they are invaluable to you when you're a district governor, and they're always there to answer questions.
You're too kind.
Thank you very much. The Global Action Team was charged with responsibility of solving problems and facilitating communication between our grassroots Lions and staff. And sometimes, this is being recorded, so I've got to be politically correct. Sometimes our language as Lions in clubs doesn't necessarily translate through the telephone lines to and understood by staff. And you need somebody who can maybe have been on both sides that can explain a little bit and change the wording to facilitate that communication. And we are thrilled to do that again. lionsclubs.org/global. Lion Gary, did I say that right? Other questions, comments? I may have taken a little bit more time than
No.
Dave allotted me, so forgive me.
No, you're doing a great job. This is always the part of the get together where people are just a little bit shy. So maybe I can throw out a question. PID Jerome, when people are doing the build a team, build a vision, build a plan, can you kind of give me an idea what is the real purpose of us of districts adopting this? Because I think there's quite a few people in the audience, and I'm not asking you to identify yourself, but why do we really want to do this?
Because we want different results. If we always do what we've always done, we're always going to get what we've always gotten. And what we've always gotten is a declining membership, declining service, and an aging organization. By changing the way that we do and changing and having a paradigm shift in our thought process and embracing the ideas of all Lions in our district, then we begin to find greater success. And success is however your district defines it. I'm going to tell you how I define it. Success is when we expand our footprint of service in our district by engaging more volunteers and identifying new leaders with new and exciting ideas. And so success means that we're serving in different ways. We're reporting that service. We're sharing our service ideas with one another. And that excitement then is helping us to identify other volunteers who want to walk alongside us and help us to put smiles on the faces of those who are less fortunate. And as they grow in our association, it's those volunteers who become our next generation of leaders who then in turn bring their new ideas and their new excitement and breathe a fresh life into an organization that's 105 years old.
So for the membership that's in attendance here, is there anyone willing that's already doing the GMA process to maybe mention some of the success or the positive change that it's brought to your district?
I guess I'm going to talk again, Dave.
Yeah, hey, Deb, you know what? You're brave and you're the first one up to bat, so you get to be listened to first.
Okay. I'm not sure brave's a good word, but we'll go with it. I would tell you that I have really, every club visit, every Lion I engage with, I remind them that we are all a team, that, it's not my year, it's not my this and my that, which was kind of what the dialogue was. And as we find issues that need resolved or barriers for us to succeed, we're really able to tackle them as a team. And that has been key. And I'll tell you, in my district, the last 10 years, we have finished our year minus at least double digits. Last year it was minus 72 in growth of members. This year, I just had my first negative, but I have a -1, and I have no doubt that we'll come up from that. So to go, there's some evidence that it really does work. It really does.
Anybody else want to throw in behind that?
Dave,
Terry?
I'll say something.
And you know what, Terry, both Deb and Terry, I'm very familiar with that, as they both do the process. And yeah, please, I'd love to hear your story. Everyone to hear it.
Well, we work hard as a team in our district, and we have been meeting every Monday up until the holidays. Our team has been working, and we have been building documents that we can build better orientation documents for the new members coming in. So I found it really interesting when you talked about, because the minute you said about the zone chair, what is a zone chair? I correct, because the first thing I thought about, these people don't even know what a zone chair is. And then you said, that does open up the conversation about what is a zone chair. And a zone chair is one of the most fun jobs there is, because you can get out into the district and see so many different projects that are going on, and you can be much more casual on your visits when you go out and meet with the clubs and visit with the clubs. And, we're opening up those positions and letting those, getting people so they know those kinds of opportunities are out there. We have developed it's a manual. It's called What the Heck is a Tail Twister, but really it's What the Heck is a Lion. So when they come in, they get a little manual, and it's a document. It's not a book. It's a fun little book that lets them know what a lion is. One thing I really wanted to bridge on what Jerome was talking about as to what we're doing differently when we're going out into the community. As a 65-year-old going out and recruiting in the community, why do we volunteer? We're all social animals. We're not going out at 65 and hanging out at bars typically. So what do we do for socialization? We go to church, we, might go out to dinner or something like that. But there's some of us that are social beings, and there are some of us that like to do things. And it's not just about helping others. It is partially about being involved with other people, like-spirited people. And that's a selling point about being involved in a social or a civic organization, whether it is the Rotarians or whatever it is. And the Lions, because of what we do and because of the service projects we do, and as active as we are and the opportunities we have, it opens it up to far more people for social opportunities than a lot of those other service organizations, because they're lunch organizations. They come, they give money. We're service oriented. So that's a selling point for the Lions for me. With our GMA, we're a team. We are, we get together, working, communicating, getting teams together, building, rebuilding. We're not going to be able to probably start new clubs this year. We have 4 charters we're going to try to rebuild. I had to make that decision. So that was my choice, is to rebuild charters. And I don't know if I'll be successful or not. I sure am going to be as diligent as I can. And I'm a half glass full kind of person. And I'm taking a lot of naysaying people and telling them we're still going to try, but that's the attitude you have to have.
Thanks very much. Yeah, go ahead, Jerome.
Lion Terry, that is exactly why we've started the global membership approach, because every district needs to define success for themselves. I cannot sit in Alabama, staff cannot sit in Oak Brook and tell Lion Terry what success looks like in your district. But when your visionaries come together and say, okay, we're going to take and not form a new club, but we're going to save 6 clubs and rebuild them. If that's how you define success, I applaud you for doing it, because a member that is paying dues is all and serving with us is important, whether they have a new charter or they're part of an old charter. The success in Constitution Area 1 is not measured by the number of clubs. It's measured by the number of members, because of the amount of service that we can provide. We served, if I'm not mistaken, 15.1 million people in the first 6 months of this year, with 42% of our clubs reporting. I firmly believe that next year, if we can begin to focus on reporting service, that we can report 50 million people served in Vice President Bryan's year, simply by doing what we're doing, but just reporting it. And so however you want to define success, as long as it involves increasing service, increasing members, and helping us with retention, I applaud you for it, and I'm on your team.
Absolutely. You know, question that I could throw out there is that, so we've heard from some people that are doing the GMA process, and I know they're doing the GMA process, and they all realize that, yep, we're still team building, because that's what GMA really comes down to, is team building, and that the district governor isn't the team, the district governor is a leader of the team. So is there anybody from any of the districts that would like to say why they're not doing GMA? No, silence is truly appreciated here.
Can I toss out an idea for whether you go through the build a vision process or you don't? What I'm going to suggest is that if, as you come in as district governor, monthly you have a Zoom call with your zone chairs for the sole purpose of talking about what we accomplished in the last 30 days, what we need you to do in this 30 days, and where we're going the 30 days after that, so that we get our zone chairs becoming that district governor to those clubs in their zone and interacting with them. And it may simply be that you want the zone chairs this month to just call everyone, or encourage at their zone meeting that they train on this membership growth event idea or this idea, or maybe the next month you want them to focus on service and service reporting. And our zone chairs are really the key. And if you don't have a district administrator, go ahead and appoint a district administrator, because your zone chair can go out there to club XYZ that's not reported service and with a form and write all this down, turn it into your district administrator who can put that service in for that club. And then you're pretty soon at 100% clubs reporting service by utilizing your zone chairs and giving them a 30-day window that you want them to accomplish this. And if we'll keep our team huddled together and focused, then we're going to be okay. And when they play football on Monday night, you're going to see Alabama, after every play, get together in their huddle and have their discussion and call their next play. We as Lions must begin to huddle more with our zone chairs and call those plays, and then run those plays for us to find greater success and score touchdowns with service, membership, and leadership. Okay, no more sermons. I'm here to answer questions.
Questions? Now's not time to be shy. Just unmute. There we go, Jim.
How about a testimonial and maybe why we're not doing the formal program this year? Dave came to Midwinter Conference, which is a couple weeks away, and we pulled together all the incoming governors and had a half hour with them. That was very helpful. I really didn't buy into the formal program, but what I did this year was every club I see, I go and talk about building the club, that Lions are Lion clubs, and that they're the most important part of the pyramid. That without the clubs, we can't do anything else. So we get them engaged, productive, and try to feel fulfilled. That's our goal. By doing that this year, hopefully in Bob Hurdy's year next year, he'll be able to build on that because the clubs are being told they're important. So then we might go to the formal program next year. But I would encourage the incoming district governors to find, I think, Dave, you're presenting at that meeting, and find a time to meet with you as a group and get the extra pep talk. Thank you.
Just doing my job.
Jim, with 11,000 clubs and 251 districts across the United States, each of them are at a different spot. And we've got to work and understand that it's going to take some districts, as your district, a year or two to get to the starting line, while others were at the starting line and ready to start the formal process and program. Ultimately, in the next 2 to 3 years, everybody needs to be doing the build a vision, build a plan, and building success. But we have some districts that have so few lions, or they have so few leaders, or they're so disjointed that we have to sort of get them to the starting line. We've got to feed them. We've got to nurture them. We've got to love them, because we have some districts that's in intensive care. If we get them out of intensive care just to a regular room this year, that's great. If we get those districts from a regular room to assisted living and then to home base and ready to start the program over the next 3 years, we're finding success. And so, Lion Jim, do not beat yourself up. We're excited that you're on the road to becoming the healthiest district in your multiple district.
Totally agreed.
Yeah. Dave?
PID Gary had his hand up.
PDG Dave and PID Jerome, thanks for letting me be in on the meeting today. And it's also great to see PID Doug Lozier from Indiana. I look at the group that's here. We have PIDs, we have PCCs, we have PDGs, we have DGs, we have PDGs, we have first vice district governors. We have great leadership. And as I get to sit in on this, being invited, I think back to 104 years ago. Who founded Lions Clubs International? The United States of America did. Melvin Jones. Okay? We were the founders, and we have been here for 104 years this year. And when you look at what PID Jerome is proposing, he's asking us and PDG Dave to design what fits for us. Okay, we're the founders. We're the founders. We every other country has been passed along and given the association to. And we're the founders and we own it. And they're asking you to say, figure out what fits for your clubs, your districts, your area, which is spectacular. Because Lions International from headquarters, when they have to give us information, they give us information that is international, has to apply international. What PID Jerome is asking is to cater this to the United States, to your club, your district, your area, your state, and to do that. Okay? It's not cookbook. It's different for each of us, and it's unique. So think of it that way, because we're used to coming in and getting a cookbook to say, this is how you do it. Well, we're asking you to do it in what fits for your Lions. When I look at the average age on this site today of us that are sitting here, I'd love to see some more 25-year-olds or 30-year-olds here. Okay. Maybe Lion Sarah, you might fit in that group, but I'm not sure yet. But either way, we need to make it appropriate for all of our citizens in the United States who would love to do service. So thanks for letting me be here. I'm off the soapbox. Great job, PID Jerome and PDG Dave, and the rest of you that are in my district governor-elect group. We're ready to climb the walls of Jericho and to do this. So thank you.
Thank you very much. District Governor Judy had her hand up.
Yes. All I'm going to say is it's not an easy process, because you are going to get resistance, but it's worth struggling through it. Our past PDGs and that aren't used to looking at a 2 or 5 year program. They're used to 1 year goals, and that's where they've come from. And that's kind of been my biggest challenge, is convincing them that we make little baby steps. And when I have visited clubs, as Deb has also, using the words, we are a team together. It's not my goals, but it's the goals of the district. Where are we going to be as a district down the road, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road? And where will your clubs be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road? What is your vision, in your community? So those are things that I've kind of used and gotten very good feedback from I would say most of the clubs. It's been a different approach, but it's not quite all the way there yet, but we're working at it.
And good luck with that process. You're doing fine. Any other questions? Comments?
I just have a real quick comment.
Yeah, Line Mary.
Just real quick. Sarah is following me, and Sarah and I have been working together and having long discussions. It's not just to follow for us to build on what has happened previously.
Mm-hmm.
We need to build 5 years out. That's why our first, second, we need to pull them in more. Sarah and I have some things going on that are not going to take 1 year to solve.
Yep. Yep.
And we need to get our second and our other leadership, as Judy said, more than 1 year. We have to think further out than Lion Sarah and I have discussed something. I am starting it. I know it'll never finish. She's going to pick it up and continue it. So it's not a 1 year goal. It's, am I right, right, Sarah? It's a 5, continuing goal. There is no dead end to it. And Sarah and I, but somebody has to start it. I'll probably be the bad guy and start this, but somebody has to start it. And we're going to start it, and Sarah's going to continue it for us. So it's not just 1 year that so many districts are thinking of. They only think 1 year, as Judy says. I'm sorry.
And Mary, I want to challenge you.
Through.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm thinking on down the line.
I want to challenge you to break from the crowd, because it is not about 1 year. It is about your district, and it's about your district's longevity. How many people here struggle getting a second vice district governor? Yeah, there's a lot of hands that I see in the picture. Okay, you know what? For the one thing that I have noticed, the people that use the team building framework, and they're already functioning as a team, the threat of being second vice district governor and eventually district governor minimizes considerably. And people are more willing to step up into that role because they know it's safe and they're working together. It's a team rather than just being on one person's shoulder. Early in the presentation, I asked the question, you know, of the people that aren't, of the districts that aren't doing GMA, why do you continue to punish your district governors this way? It's a really valid question, folks. Is that being a district governor can be a fun time, or it can be a time where there's just endless responsibility and you're always, like you say, a one-year governor, and the next year as well, they're the next one-year governor. And it's time to turn that paradigm around a little bit and break from the herd. We realize that we're going to have to be a little bit different maybe than some of the governors before us. And I think that challenge is a very worthwhile one.
Dave, can I throw in a comment here?
Please, that's what this is for. Yeah.
Many of you wouldn't know me, but I was the governor last year, and Judy was my first vice. And she convinced me, dragged me kicking and screaming to be first vice this year because we had nobody step in. So we really are working together because we were together last year, we're together this year, and she doesn't know it yet, but she's going to be with me next year as well, as is Janet down here below me on the screen. And we're planning to work closely together with it. And we aren't the kind of people who have to take credit for this happened during my year. You know, we're more concerned with how is it going to affect our district and our communities around us, rather than taking credit for when something happens.
Well said. Okay, any more questions? I'd like to thank PID Jerome Thompson for the wonderful job that he did. When it came to doing Build a Vision, there was only one person that came to mind. Normally I'm supposed to do this myself, but I ask as a personal favor for Jerome to do it. And I think you understand why now. He did an excellent job. So thank you very much, Jerome.
Thank you, Dave. You're very welcome.
Thank you for stopping in to the Midwest Lions Alliance TV channel. If you have questions or comments about this webinar, feel free to contact me. I'm Area Leader and past District Governor Dave Weinman. My email is dw@abadata, that's abadata.com. Until next time, we serve. Cheers.